Hello and welcome to the Gillette Rugby podcast, keeping you at the cutting edge of rugby. I'm Guy Swindles and we speak on the day that England name their team for the first match of their World Cup campaign against the United States. Bad news on the injury front, Johnny Wilkinson unavailable after twisting an ankle in training. Remember, you can keep up to date and receive the podcast on a daily basis to your computer by going to rfu.com/2007 and following the links that say podcast. First of all, the news that Brian Ashton has named his team for the first match against the United States. And remember, he said that this was the first 15 as far as he was concerned. That's very good news for Lawrence Dallaglio, who returns at number 8. Mike Catt wins the Battle of the Veterans for the centre spot. He'll line up alongside Jamie Noon. Andy Farrell will be on the bench alongside the ex-captain Martin Corrie. But Johnny Wilkinson, the big news, and he will not be in the first match. Olly Barkley comes in at fly half. And we start by talking to Olly Barkley. And Greg Strange began the interview, well, after congratulating him about his new position in the team, by saying, surely the waiting must be over.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we've worked tremendously hard over the past few months. There's been a lot of hype surrounding the World Cup and its defence and what have you. So we're just happy to be here at the moment and really get on with matters.
It's been a long, hard haul to be here, but it's all been worthwhile as far as you're concerned now.
It has, yeah, hugely. This is my first ever World Cup, and I'm loving it. Not only the rugby, the experience of being in Paris, and the defence of it, and the pressure. It's all something that you take in your stride, and hopefully we'll come out on top of the next few weeks.
You've had your good games, you've had your less than good games, you've had your injuries, you've had your detractors, you've had your fans. It must play funny games to your head from time to time when you're playing a professional rugby player at this level. Yeah,
initially it does. I think, but the older you get, sort of the more equipped you are to deal with it mentally, and I'm a big believer it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, and I've had a lot of things try and kill me, and as a result I'm a bit stronger for it, I think. But no, I've had my ups and downs the past few years, and I've always worked very, very hard through all of them, and I'm happy to be here now, and I'm proud of it.
Are you happy though about those 3 matches played last month? One against Wales, which was a travesty of a rugby match for the bystander. Lord knows what it was like for those playing in it. But those 2 big games against France, did they prove anything for anyone?
Yeah, I definitely think in terms of our preparation, with the highlight areas that we need to work on, highlight areas that we're going well, and I think to play two test matches of that intensity against 2 teams like that, particularly one in Marseille, which was I don't think you can experience too much more pressure in test matches than you will in that one. So I think to go into the World Cup with 2 very, very high pressure matches under your belt is a good thing, and we didn't perform hugely well in both of them, but we learnt valuable lessons, and hopefully that will come to light in France.
Inevitably there are going to be comparisons throughout this Rugby World Cup campaign with 2003. Then England had all the time in the world, it seemed, and all the money and everything was thrown at the preparation. This time poor Brian Ashton has really had to battle his way to get you to where you are now. It's not been the best of preparations. Can you somehow take some strength from that as a squad?
I think certain scenarios come about in rugby, and you have to deal with them. I think the fact that we haven't had a less than ideal preparation is, it's fact. Bitching about it is not really going to help matters. I think we need to get on with it. We need to work hard and really focus on the task in hand, just to try and retain our World Cup. We know preparation hasn't been ideal in terms of time we've had together, but we'll get on with that. And I think that we've learned valuable lessons in a very short period of time. So hopefully that puts us in good stead.
Are you a player who just looks at each game as it comes, or are you trying to take in the whole concept of the tournament at this stage?
I think in terms of maybe the whole experience of the tournament, and not necessarily the whole concept. I think every match is important. I think everyone's obviously targeting the South Africa match. That's a huge match for us. Take one game at a time is a massive cliche, but whether someone says it or they aren't saying it, then everyone's looking at that South Africa game as the big one. So we'll play USA, pay them the utmost of respect, and then head on to South Africa, and then we'll kick on from there. But I think we can target the few games in the group that we really want to get our teeth stuck into.
And tell me finally, if you can, about the spirit of the squad. You've played in all kinds of teams and all kinds of units in your career. Is it a happy squad? Is it a cheerful squad? Is it a confident squad? Is it an angry squad, or what?
No, I think it's a very happy squad. We've got luckily to have a huge amount of characters in our squad, which fares well. There's never usually a dull moment. There's always someone cracking a joke or taking the mickey out of someone or laughing at some place, whether it's the physio room or on the pitch or in the changing room. So it's a great bunch to be around, and that makes the whole experience that much nicer for everyone. So it's a time I'm looking forward to.
Have a great campaign.
Thank you very much.
Presenting Gillette Aerosol Antiperspirant with triple protection system. It helps to fight odour, keep you dry, and smell great all day. Triple protection, so you can be yourself.
One man who will be disappointed to start on the bench will be hooker George Chuter, particularly after growing a rather magnificent beard, although he stresses that this wasn't particularly just to celebrate the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a bit strange actually. I'm not growing it in honour of the World Cup. I just can't be bothered to shave, and suddenly everyone's making a big. Perhaps I'm not playing well enough for people to talk about anything else. But I don't know. It's just something I've decided to grow.
There have been comparisons drawn with Sebastian Chabal, who of course is fairly hairy.
Oh, he's my idol in terms of facial hair. Him and Farn Ruttenbuck from London Irish. We had a scrummage session this week with London Irish, and he's got a fantastic beard. But Chabal, I'm not in his league, unfortunately, in facial hair stakes.
Well, Chabal, of course, has become a sex symbol in France. He really is causing great concern and excitement amongst the leaders.
Yeah, I don't think I really get any of that sort of attention myself, but it would be nice. Perhaps it appeals to the French more than the English.
It's not quite the role for a hooker, though, is it?
No, perhaps not. I think we tend to keep ourselves to ourselves a bit more than perhaps the flashy back rowers.
How big a tournament is this for you? The biggest thing you've ever done, presumably?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's huge. You know, I think it's the third biggest sporting occasion of the year after something like the Football World Cup and the Olympics. That sort of, it's a massive occasion for sport in general, and for me personally, it's beyond my sort of wildest comprehensions. Really, when I first started out playing rugby, that I'd be on a stage in front of millions of people watching on TV, hundreds of thousands of people coming to watch the games live. It's quite staggering, really, when you think of the scale of the whole thing on its own.
When did you start playing, and what as?
I started off as a 12-year-old loosehead prop. Played there for 2 games, and then moved to hooker, and I've not moved since. I don't know whether they saw me originally and looked at my body shape, my lack of speed, and thought, right, as a front rower, or whether it was something a bit deeper, but I don't know.
Did you have a hero amongst the hookers when you were growing up?
Not
Brian
really.
Moore, presumably, springs to mind.
Yeah,
he's quite old by now.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. He's not that old. He's as young as he feels. No, but I think he was obviously a hooker I looked up to. But my hero when I was growing up as a rugby player was Dean Richards, actually. I used to watch him on TV. We were playing for England, and he'd always be around the ball be all around him or something like that. And it was just someone I used to love watching play.
The commitment was total, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Oh, total was not the word. And then I got to meet him finally when he was my boss at Leicester, and heard a lot more stories about him. And the rumours were true, and all my suspicions were true. And he's a great player, and by all accounts, a great bloke off the field.
Cast your mind back almost 4 years ago to that night in Sydney when Johnny slotted the drop goal. I presume, like most of us, you were watching one way or the other?
No, we had Rotherham in the league at Millmore, and we were on the bus, I think, during the whole game. We got to Millmore about 5 o'clock for a 6:30 kick-off, 7 o'clock, something like that, and we heard the results, obviously, but we didn't see it on TV because we were getting ready for the game. And in fact, our coaches banned us from watching or talking about it at all, just to try and concentrate on to getting the points and the league points against Rotherham. So, yeah, perhaps my memories weren't quite so vivid as other people's.
So that was 4 years ago, and here you are now. That's quite a roller coaster ride in 4 years, isn't it? Do you expect to be here? I mean, was it part of the game plan?
I think perhaps it was. Well, I only really got back into England squad 18 months ago. I toured Australia that summer. And I suppose from then, really, it's been looming on the horizon. The World Cup, obviously comes around every 4 years, so it's coming eventually. But having got back in the England squad, it was there, and people were asking me 18 months ago, "Oh, you got the World Cup," and I think the response at the time was, "Yeah, but it's a year and a half away. A lot can happen at that time." And then the autumn internationals came round, same thing. 6 Nations came round. Everyone's talking about the World Cup. And you don't want to think about it because you've got other bigger fish to fry at the time, both with the country and with club commitments. So now we're finally here. It's great. It's finally great to be here. It's great that it's finally come around. And yes, I suppose it has been in my long-term plan, but I've not really allowed myself to think about it too much, to be honest.
Right, that's it for today. Join us tomorrow when we'll have all the latest from the England camp. And remember, you can keep up to date with everything that's happening with the England team at rfu.com/2007.
To get behind the scenes in the Gillette locker room, where you can watch the biggest names in rugby union and have the chance to win exclusive prizes, including tickets to sell-out games and signed merchandise, go to www.mygillette.co.uk.